I have made so many witchcraft mistakes. I am basically a cautionary tale, but you don't have to be. Let me save you the chaos. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Rhiannon. I am a witch and pagan, and on this channel I like to share my personal experience with my own magical path, as well as dive into all things that are magical and spooky alike. Today I'll be sharing my biggest mistakes that I've made in my witchcraft career so that you guys don't have to make them yourself. Please leave your own experiences down in the comments below. I think we would all love to share in your own personal experience so that we can save each other a little bit of heartache along the way and a lot less chaos. One of the main things that I regret most in my practice is not recording from the very beginning. And perhaps it was because maybe I didn't really know what I was doing in the beginning. I was just creating and manifesting and noticing things happening as I did them. But I wish I had grabbed a journal as soon as I had realized what I was creating and diving into and started recording everything from that prior experience onward. Now I regret not having those experiences for me to revisit as fresh as they could have been on a page of paper that I have poured my experience into. Being able to journal my magical encounters, my magical experiences with different herbs and allies, and different dreams that I had during that time would have been so helpful in the current present day. And now I'm going back and revisiting those experiences through dream work, astral projection, and working with my spirit allies to help me remember those times so that I can go ahead and catalog everything from the very beginning. So it's a lot more work on my end, and I definitely don't want anyone else to have to deal with that. I actually started tracking my progress and my rituals that I have created. It has started releasing different patterns and experiences throughout my own practice. So now I can expect how long a spell of a certain kind might take. I can also start projecting where a spell might go awry in the future and then experiment with it, see how it goes, and then be able to troubleshoot it while it's in the middle of a working. So I might be continuing to work with several candles for several weeks and realize, oh, I need to do a little bit of pop-up work here on the side so that this can troubleshoot this next scenario that I maybe did not predict ahead of time. Mistake number 2 that I have made is ignoring protection work and grounding work in the very beginning. Now, in the very beginning, I actually was all about protections, and it was a little bit more of that fear-based approach. And then as I grew, you'll see this on my channel, the videos are still up, where I kind of stepped into the space of protection not being necessary because I didn't feel unprotected or I didn't feel unsafe. And now that I've grown into my practice and had more experiences, I've grown past that opinion. I've always said on this channel, I am subject to change and editing at any given time, so please don't hold me to my past self. As I wouldn't want to hold you to your own past self, but that has, now that I've seen the effects of what not having protections from a grounded, centered, and confident place can lead to, I definitely realize that protections are so necessary, but you want to come from it from a confident and grounded space and not a place of fear. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time for you to develop that confidence, but in my opinion, some protection is better than none, even if it is from a place of a bit of fear. I definitely think it's better to have something between you and the outside world than not. Now that I've experienced what it's like to realize that I'm going through some type of onboarding or changing of my leveling spiritually, I guess. I don't know really how else to put it. I'm currently working through a spiritual schooling system right now, and I realized that without the protections I had specifically on my bed, I was subjecting myself to having a lot more spiritual attacks at night. And even though I wear protection crystals and all of the things, even my partner has been experiencing weird things at night. So it made me realize I have to like ward the bed. I have to ward not just the house, but the bed. Maybe something might pass through the wards that I do have, and maybe I do want to like ward my bedroom and the bed itself so that I have all these different layers upon layers. It makes it more difficult for something to be able to pass through, if that makes sense. I think I do have a video on grounding techniques and different ways to connect to myself and the earth. I will post those in the channel notes below or link them above. I know I've had older videos. If they are maybe more outdated and maybe you guys don't agree with as much on those videos, let me know and I'll definitely make an updated video in the future. The next mistake that I have made is collecting tools without really learning their purpose fully, or maybe not even just their purpose, but their purpose for me and in my practice. So I would start collecting tools. I'm like, okay, I need to have the cauldrons, I need to have the candlesticks, I need to have all of the candles, the candelabras, I need the herbal bundles and all the things. To the point where I subscribe to a witchcraft subscription box, and those are great in the beginning if you know kind of what you're getting into and you do like collecting things and have a bit of a more maximalist like aesthetic. But for me, I actually struggled with understanding what to do with certain tools that I didn't necessarily know that I was going to be receiving. Like for example, my wand. So this is a magical wand that I got from the Witch's Moonbox. It's beautiful. Maybe not exactly my aesthetic. I kind of want to paint it black and silver. I don't know if that is heresy or not. Let me know in the comments below, but I'm kind of living on the edge these days. But now I had to create a reason to utilize this wand because I don't use wands in directional workings. This is now a trigger tool for one of my servitors that I work with. And if I don't have this, certain actions will not be done. So when I'm calling upon it, I need this to be able to bring it on board. So let me know. That's actually a good idea. I kind of think I would use it more if I painted this wand. This is a real oak wand, maybe even staining it a darker tone. What do you guys think? Is that crazy? Also, you guys, as I can hear this as I'm talking, I'm sick. We all know this. You don't need to bring it up in the comments. I probably will lose my voice periodically throughout this, so ignore it. There's nothing else I can really do about it. So in summary with all of that, I realized that collecting too much can actually lead me to not wanting to practice because I had all this spiritual clutter around. I didn't know what to use things for what, or maybe I was just like forgetting about items for longer periods of time, and then suddenly it showed up in my world again and I would try using it and then it would fall to the wayside again, and things weren't being used up in a way that for me is sustainable in my own practice. So definitely check into that. I'm not saying subscription boxes are not good. I enjoy them. I am lusting currently off of a Gothic subscription box right now. I probably won't be able to subscribe to for a while, but you have to kind of know that you're going to have to kind of working these items into your practice or be able to have someone to give these things to within your world that will take them gladly, because otherwise it's just kind of wasteful. Mistake number 4 was only practicing when I felt magical or felt the call to do something. This is something specifically in the beginning that really led to a bit of a dampening on my growth and my practice and my overall connection to everything. I feel very strongly, in my opinion, that when you first start with a magical practice, you need to kind of attack it in a way where it's kind of like a discipline. You need to build up the muscles for it. You need to just develop your own routines and cycle through things to see what works for you. So for me, everyday practice is definitely not something that works for me, and I found that out very quickly. So I don't hold any guilt to myself not being able to practice daily, but there are some things that I have like a golden standard to that I have to do daily, like a meditation and an energetic clearing. These things I will do daily. That's something I've been able to manage into my lifestyle. But you won't realize those things are difficult for you until you try to put yourself through it. So now for me, going through a weekly practice is a lot easier. And there's about every other day, there's something that I've dedicated to myself. And it kind of works out well because of my spirits I work with like Artemis on Mondays and uh, Aphrodite on Fridays. And then we have Mercury on Wednesdays. It's literally that every other day thing where I have a dedicated day for a spirit. And then in between that, I might do something a little extra for myself if I feel the call to. And if I don't, I'll just kind of sandwich it in together before I go to work on the Monday, Wednesdays, or the Fridays. Being able to discover what works for you is going to help you build that consistency. Because if you're putting the pressure on yourself that you need to work and do a ritual or some type of working every day or every week or every full moon, that's not going to work for you. So there's definitely times in the year where before the year starts, I will sit down and project the biggest astral events that are coming up, and I will circle the ones that are most important to me for my current goals. And those are the ones that I'm going to pay attention to. I'm not going to do something for every single Sabbath every month of the year. That's just something that's not sustainable. I would love to. And if I'm able to and have the bandwidth, yeah, I will do it. But there's definitely times where I've put a lot of pressure on myself to do something every single month. I'm going to be doing massive cleanings every week, and I have to do a ritual every day. And that leads to massive burnout. And it makes you kind of resentful towards your craft and something that you put upon yourself that you really didn't need to. Mistake number 5 is overcomplicating everything. This is something I am super good at. It is one of my main talents in life, both in witchcraft and everything else I do. I like to make things hard on myself for some reason. I don't know if it's from an anxiety point of view or something else, but I like to overcomplicate things and make things a lot more difficult than they need to be. Whether that be through spell work where more is more and I want to add all the herbs and all the oils I can possibly get my hands onto and create something even maybe more volatile than it needs to be energetically. Whereas if I just relied on 4 to 5 herbal ingredients and one oil, that's plenty. I know witches and occultists that work off of less most days. So I don't understand why I have to do that way. I have powders and biodegradable glitters and I add sigils onto everything that I do. I carve it, then I put one underneath it. I put oils, and then I'll have to do a precursor spell to something. And instead of just setting a spell and getting it going and then reading the energy from there, I put up a little bit of blockades for myself sometimes, I notice. And that's something you guys don't need to do for yourself. Don't get in your own way. Just start practicing and seeing what comes up. If things are not manifesting, then add to it or adjust it. And keep track of everything, like I said. This is going to be how you build your formulations for everything. As I get older, I'm starting to realize that your power relies on simplicity and can really expand and grow from there. There's so many different rituals that I've experienced that different things were able to blossom and come to my attention because things were more simple and I was able to notice them better. Mistake number 6 is forgetting the body is a magical tool itself. This is actually so funny for me to do because one of the first things that I did manifest something from was through just my mind magic and working through I think it would probably be scripting and just my mind and visualization and showing up in the physical world. This has been the most powerful thing for me, and I know that no matter what I do, if I don't have a specific tool, I can make something happen through the power of my brain. And that's the most powerful thing to me. Along with this kind of neglect also came along with neglecting my breath and the movement of my body and the power of my voice that helps to trigger the mind magic and my bodily magic that I have inside. Those things can help stimulate energy and build energy in a ritual. And these are the bases of what I use in a room. For example, breath work like box breathing, 3-3 breathing. Super helpful. Highly recommend. Super good if you are extremely stressed as well. Mistake number 7 is treating the moon like it's a schedule. So, like I alluded to earlier, I was treating the moon like it was a schedule and not a spirit to be worked with. And this is something that made me resent the workings that I was wanting so badly to do. I was kind of using the moon phases as a checklist within my overall rituals instead of using it as like an energetic connection and a way to kind of just communicate with myself and the phases that I'm going through. One advice that I suggest to build a deeper relationship with lunar energy is to follow the moon phases for 7 to 14 days and just see what that energy feels like. It's not a full phase of the moon, of course, through the full sequence, but it's going to help you start building that relationship and really connecting to it without feeling overwhelmed. And then once you've gotten a taste for it, you can go ahead and finish up the phases. And I want you to like journal everything and see how the energies change throughout these different phases of these moons. How do people react differently to you at work or in life? It definitely gave me a bit of illumination, for lack of better words, on how the moon really does affect things in everyday life. So those are my mistakes that I've made in my magical practice. I would love for you guys to share me what your magical mistakes were in your practice and how you overcame them, or any advice you have for any beginners in the comments down below. I'm sure they would appreciate it as well. And I would love to share with you guys more stories on what these mistakes did to you, because I know I have a lot of crazy stories to share, and I can't wait to share them with you. If you love the channel and you would like to help support it further, you can check out my Patreon down in the channel notes below. There you'll get exclusive access to different content, as well as early access to my podcasts and my YouTube videos, as well as exclusive voting rights and so many different things that are behind the scenes. For example, there's exclusives like the behind the scenes as I go through my musical journey through writing and then producing my very first EP and so much more. So if you'd like to check that out, definitely join the Moon Fan over there. And with that, I love you guys also very much. Thank you for riding with me on this video. And if you would like, please share this video with other like-minded witches and pagans so that they can grow as well, and as well the channel can grow. With all that said, Moon Kittens, thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!